Okay. All right. Welcome, graduates and guests. My name is Rachel Todd, and I'm the director of the Oregon Executive MBA program. And I am pleased to announce that the 38th commencement of the Oregon Executive MBA is now underway. You may now take your seats. It is now my honor to introduce the Lundquist College of Business's Edward Miletus Dean, Bruce Blonigan.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so happy to be here inside in this beautiful venue. I'm so happy our staff did not schedule us outside. So thank you, staff. Let's give them a warm applause for appreciation. Now, it is my great honor and pleasure to be here today to share this special moment with our graduates, their family and friends, and our faculty and staff. The graduates of the Oregon Executive MBA program are so inspiring to me. You enter the program with a high level of prior experience and then pursue a degree while already busy with career and personal lives. The degree of difficulty and the determination it takes to successfully complete this degree is truly impressive. We often think about the information you gain from content in the coursework as the value of the degree. But in a program like this, a substantial value comes from engaging with a set of already successful colleagues to explore and collaborate as you take on the course topics. We have large enough cohorts in the program to provide a diverse set of perspectives and experiences, but small enough to allow you to really build a strong community. This network of colleagues is an asset that you will have for your entire life. So please cherish it and use it. I'm not just excited for you, the graduates, but also for our entire community. The network of Oregon Executive MBA alumni is extensive and deep, providing substantial leadership across Portland and our region. We look to all of you to be leaders as well, at a time when our world needs good leadership more than ever. Ambition, drive, and passion are characteristics that we often hear as qualities we want in a leader. But in a world of increasing polarization, these traits by themselves have really begun to give me pause. I hope that your time in our program has helped you hone a more nuanced approach to leadership for the many complex problems we face today. Ambition should be balanced with empathy and tolerance for others, while passion should be balanced by the ability to interrogate ideas with others dispassionately. And the business mindset is well suited for this balance. The incredible high, or passion, that comes from creating an idea for a new product or startup must face the dispassionate rigor of market analysis and business planning. Decision-making in successful businesses comes from exploring many alternatives, inviting critical feedback, and finding solutions that serve the most people. My way or the highway rarely works in a business setting, and I would say it doesn't work in most settings at all. You are the current and future leaders of our community, and we're incredibly honored and proud that you chose us for your Executive MBA degree. As you take a culture of balance, community, inclusion, tolerance, and collaboration beyond the boundaries of this program to positively engage and impact other parts of our community, the world will be a better place. So we will be cheering you on, and that will often come with Go Ducks. All right, thank you, and I now turn over the podium back to our Executive Director of the program, Rachel Todd.
Now it is my pleasure and privilege to introduce this year's commencement speaker, Eric Rosenfeld. Eric is the co-founder and managing partner of Oregon Venture Fund, our region's largest and most active venture capital fund. During the past 17 years, Oregon Venture Fund has invested in 78 companies, and under Eric's leadership, it continues to make good on its commitment to supporting highly scalable businesses in Oregon and Southern Washington. Even audience members from out of town are likely to recognize brand names like Salt and Straw, the ice cream manufacturer with the incredibly creative seasonal flavors, Rumpel, the maker of cozy blankets for the outdoors, and paradigm-shifting clothing company Wild Fang. These brands are very Oregonian in spirit, but they are already widely recognized around the United States. Consider them ambassadors of our state. But consumer products and services are just one part of Oregon Venture Fund's portfolio. It is also invested in a range of sectors that include clean tech and energy, financial tech, life science and health tech, and social platforms, just to name a few. Since the fund's start in 2007, the companies in which it has invested have gone on to create more than 5,700 jobs and $5 billion in total market capitalization right here in our region. Talk about impact. When graduating student Laura McIntosh suggested Eric as this year's commencement speaker, and when he accepted the role, I was thrilled. Eric's reputation preceded him. I know that the Oregon Venture Fund has been a powerful force in our region's economy, helping distinctive businesses grow and thrive. But Eric is also passionate about building community among entrepreneurs, of course, and also through his support of causes around the region. These include the Catlin Gable School, the Oregon Jewish Community Foundation, and the Portland Japanese Garden. All of this would have been more than enough, but then Eric's team provided me with his professional bio, and so much in it resonated with me, but one line in particular stood out, because of its parallels to what we aim for our students to experience through the program, and I will read it for you. Eric's model of venture capital is successful because he surrounds himself with experts in various sectors and engages them in the process of screening companies, coaching entrepreneurs, and trying to determine whether a startup has the potential to grow quickly. Surrounding yourself with experts and engaging with them, it's exactly what our soon-to-be graduates have spent the past 20 months doing. Learning from our faculty, of course, but also learning so much from one another, and then taking this expertise and knowledge and using it to move forward with their dreams and ambitions. Engaging with experts, I'm not surprised by the success of Oregon Venture Fund has found through this technique. It's an ideal blend of curiosity, humility, and clear-sighted action. Not all of us are entrepreneurs or venture capitalists, but we can all gain by incorporating Eric and Oregon Venture Fund's approach into our lives. Thank you, Eric, for everything you do for our region and for being the Oregon Executive MBA commencement speaker this year.
This past month, I've really enjoyed getting to know a few of you, to hear how you've honed your business and leadership skills, to learn how you've become more confident and how you've benefited from the OEMBA's cohort model and your class expeditions to Copenhagen and Prague. Given that you spent 2+ years managing full-time work, young kids, relationships, classes, projects, and homework, if nothing else, you've become masters of time management. Your graduation today is an extraordinary accomplishment. Congratulations to you all. Now, by participating in the Oregon Executive MBA program, each of you has made a commitment to being an innovator, to being an entrepreneurial thinker, to being a leader in your field, to being a lifelong student of business, and to being a mentor to those who work with you and for you. You are now the latest to be minted big thinking men and women of enterprise in Oregon. Which begs the question, who was the first entrepreneur in Oregon? Has anyone here been to Fort Rock, southeast of Bend? Great. Okay, and as you know, the lava rock can be very sharp. Well, over 10,000 years ago, at a settlement at the base of Fort Rock, an enterprising early Oregonian, let's call her Clovis, she has an insight, and she comes up with a clever way of weaving shredded sagebrush bark into sandals. She was an expert at weaving baskets, and she applies that expertise in a novel way to weave and create the world's first footwear, which according to the archaeological record became de rigueur across the American West very quickly. One can imagine, almost imagine, the gatherings of indigenous Americans selling them out of the back of her wagon. Clovis may have been Oregon's first entrepreneur and the founding mother of our now globally famous footwear industry. Now, fast forward a few years to 1907, the number of deep water ships bringing workers to Oregon's booming logging industry far exceeds the number of ships departing from Portland. Abandoned ships pile up along the Willamette, just a few blocks from here that way. Two enterprising immigrants, Max Hirsch and Harry Weiss, they have an insight. They figure out how to repurpose the canvas sails from the surplus ships to fashion much-needed waterproof pants, jackets, and tents for the growing number of loggers, mill hands, and cattle ranchers. 20 years later, Max's son Harold, who had taken up skiing, has an aha moment himself. He repurposes some of his dad's surplus capital, equipment, and employees, and creates Oregon's and the world's first ski and sportswear company. He anglicizes the name, which Hirsch Weiss becomes, anyone remember? White Stag. White Stag was born by Hirsch and Weiss. It operates out of a building that you all know too well. And White Stag soon becomes the largest ski wear company in the world. From there, things pick up. Carl Jansen, an early supplier of knitted products to White Stag, he has an insight. Could the machinery that he uses to knit sweaters and pants for skiers and hikers, could that machinery be repurposed and used to make, any guesses? Carl Jansen? Swimsuits, correct. Jansen invents the modern swimsuit. By 1920, Portland-based Jansen is the largest producer of swimsuits in the world. And it gets better. A few Jansen and White Stag employees later peel off, and they bring their expertise and insights to another local startup. And this one happens to make hats and waterproof jackets. Any guesses to which one? Columbia, exactly. Columbia Sportswear. Columbia is now the largest outdoor active lifestyle apparel company in the world. Today, over 60,000 people work at over 3,000 businesses in our state's world-class athletic and outdoor industry. And one could tell a similar story about the enterprising men and women who created Oregon's Silicon Forest. Your predecessors didn't just shape our industries and economy, they shaped our culture and values, including our educational institutions, especially U of O. The richness of our state was not just born in the resources of the earth, the forest, the farmland, the fish, though they were plentiful, but in the men and women who took its measure. They were big thinking and enterprising just like you. There are two red threads that connect Clovis and those enterprising spirits who came after her, two red threads that connect Clovis with you. Those threads, perhaps they're more like shoelaces, are the threads of insight and uncertainty. Insight and uncertainty. I'd like to suggest to you, graduates, and to all of us who might still be awake, that we should embrace both insights and uncertainty. Let's start with insight. Every innovation, every startup, every new product starts with an insight gleaned from prior innovations and insights. We stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. Innovations at their core are almost always incremental and evolutionary. They're not sudden, they're not revolutionary. Nike's first significant product insight came from pouring boiling hot polyurethane into the family waffle maker, right? But is that really true? That moment was the culmination of years of tinkering with running shoes. And that started Bill Bowerman started experimenting with existing running shoes in the early 1950s, long before he started experimenting with waffle soles. In fact, 20 years before his waffle iron experiments, Bowerman would take his band saw and deconstruct existing racing shoes and examine their anatomy and innards, not unlike Michelangelo and Da Vinci dissecting cadavers to see what the muscle and the tendons looked like. Years before he met Phil Knight, Bowerman was consulting with local cobblers and bootmakers in Eugene and Springfield. And those cobblers and those bootmakers, they could likely trace their insights and their craft to Clovis. She had the original insight to apply basket weaving technology to footwear. Now, tomorrow, you start the next chapter of your careers. Your success and happiness with your work will, in large part, stem from your insights and innovations and benefit your customers and from the knowledge that you're contributing to your field and making a difference. The innovations that you come up with, whether lasting and consequential or, heaven forbid, ephemeral and minor, they'll stem from applying your expertise and insights in creative and incremental but powerful new ways. So that's the first red thread, the insight. The second is uncertainty. The second red thread connects our past with your future, and it's the thread of uncertainty. The reason the stories of Clovis woman, Hirsch and Weiss, Bowerman and Knight matter so much is that they reflect the rewards of embracing uncertainty. Not risk, but uncertainty. What's the difference? Risk can be measured, managed, and minimized. Risk has probabilities. Risk is betting on a game of dice. Uncertainty, on the other hand, is betting if someone has a game of dice. As students these past 2+ years, you learned ways to identify, to manage and reduce risk in business. Finance risk, product risk, market risk. There's probably a dozen others. You've also learned, I hope, the importance and necessity of embracing uncertainty. In the vernacular of the infamous Don Rumsfeld, risks are the known unknowns. Uncertainties are the unknown unknowns. Success in business and life does not come from embracing risk. Quite the opposite. Risky behavior can result in lost customers, getting fired, or as a recent president just learned, it can result in a criminal conviction. In contrast, the best things in life, they're uncertain, they're unknowable, right? Clovis's ancestors embraced the uncertainty that comes with crossing a land bridge that once linked Siberia and Alaska, and they made their way to Oregon from there. Soviet and US relations were probably better at that time. Those who came later by boat or via the Oregon Trail to settle in Oregon we're also some of the most enterprising people on the planet. As Bill Bowerman used to say about his family who arrived via the Oregon Trail, the cowards never started, and the weak died along the way. That leaves us. Phil Knight would later say, a rare strain of pioneering spirit was discovered along that trail, some outsized sense of possibility, and it is our job as Oregonians to keep that strain alive. From speaking with some of you over the past few weeks, I know a few of you may harbor some uncertainty about your career path and how you will next contribute to the world. Let me share my experience, first personal, then professional. Before starting my MBA, I once boldly embraced the unknown and uncertain. I was standing in a buffet line. I mustered the courage to talk to a beautiful young woman ahead of me. It was a maneuver that admittedly was low in risk, but nevertheless high in uncertainty. She agreed to go out with me that evening. She's been with me. I've been with her ever since. Any success I have would not have been remotely possible without the support of Tiffany and her encouragement. Thank you, Tiffany. 20 years ago, I was out of a job. A startup that I had helped run and grow called Second Story had been acquired. I didn't have a great idea for another startup. During this time, I felt great uncertainty about my professional future. I took a lot of long runs through Forest Park, and that gave me time to think and reflect. On one such run, I was thinking about the successful people I knew, and I had an epiphany. It was an obvious insight, as most insights are in retrospect, but it intrigued me profoundly. The insight was that many of the people I knew who were doing well and meeting with financial success had one thing in common. They had exposure to equity, either through stock options, or as founders, or as angel investors, or as venture investors. The difference between a good salary and a great salary was inconsequential, it seemed, compared to the difference between having no equity and having some equity. I thought, what if I could fashion a career around maximizing my exposure to startup equity? Instead of starting just one company or being an angel investor in a couple of companies, what if I could create a seed capital fund and own a little bit of equity in a lot of startups? There was one problem. Of course, I'd saved up enough to cover our family's expenses for a few years, but not enough to properly capitalize a venture fund. My friend Bob Ward and we teamed up and did something I would not recommend. We bootstrapped a venture fund. It was the venture equivalent of selling shoes out of the back of a trunk. We raised a whopping $2 million from friends and former colleagues and invested in 10 local startups. We viewed it as a pilot fund, as a sort of minimum viable venture fund. The goal was to get started and to learn by doing, and boy, did we have a lot to learn. The insights started rolling in. All right, we're back to insights. Insight number one, YouTube and social media were taking off. We saw that people didn't want to just consume. People want to contribute and share. From Facebook and Web 2.0, we wondered, what if we could create Venture 2.0, a highly collaborative venture fund where the investors contribute to the work of the fund? What if we selected our investors not just based on their capacity to be investors, but also based on their startup and business expertise? At the time, such a fund did not exist anywhere. Now today, we have 802 investors, of which 180 are venture partners, and these are individuals who have led or started a company. They represent some of the most accomplished, insightful, and well-connected entrepreneurs and business and technology leaders in our region, and they go to great lengths to support our portfolio companies. Our large community of venture partners has become our secret sauce, our competitive edge. Now, insight number 2. Several of the companies we backed in our first fund were adopting a software as a service subscription revenue business model, pioneered at the time by Salesforce. Rather than bind our investors to a 5-year period of capital calls, as nearly all venture funds did at the time, we wondered if we could create a more investor-friendly business model. Why not take a page from Salesforce and create an annual subscription service for our investors, where investors would have the option, but not the obligation, to invest each year? In 2007, the Oregon Venture Fund introduced the first venture-as-a-service business model. If our portfolio companies could earn the repeat business of their customers by performing well and communicating well, we could do the same with our investors. Insight number 3. Oregon was overlooked and underserved with venture capital. In 2006, just $150 million of venture capital was invested in Oregon startups, and nearly all of that came from out-of-state funds. You could literally see the venture capital flying overhead from Silicon Valley to Seattle. We knew entrepreneurs and investors take great pride in the communities in which they work and live. What if we could facilitate investing local and doing that in a rigorous, methodical, and professional way? In Oregon, we were famous for shopping local and eating local. What if we can make it easy to invest local? Our 2007 fund was one of the first in the country to champion the concept of place-based investing, which has now become a bona fide movement. Sustainable strategic competitive advantage comes not just from being better, but from being different. OVF was and remains very different, and proudly so. Of course, during the early years, it wasn't all ducks and bunnies. One major problem was the lawyers, accountants, bankers, and advisors, they all told us that it can't be done. The idea of a collaborative, annually renewing, community-based, regionally focused venture fund was met with a healthy dose of skepticism. Some said, you can't raise money in Oregon. Oregon was home to only a few people with deep pockets, and unfortunately, they had short arms. The point, even if we could raise a small fund and try to bootstrap, the economics wouldn't pencil. Some speculated that our geographic focus on Oregon and Southern Washington would be too narrow and limiting. Their fear, we wouldn't find enough fundable startups to create a diversified and winning portfolio. A few lawyers said our collaborative model posed too much liability, and some accountants concluded that our annual venture-as-a-service subscription model would be too cumbersome and expensive. Now, like many of the entrepreneurs we back, we followed our conviction and ignored their advice. We felt we were onto a more powerful model with the potential for greater economic impact and financial returns. We followed the lean startup playbook and we bootstrapped. Today, as Rachel mentioned, we've invested nearly $200 million in 80 regional startups that combined have grown to nearly $6 billion in enterprise value and have created over 5,700 jobs. OVF's investment performance over the past 17 years beats Warren Buffett and 90% of all venture funds. I'm glad we listened to and learned from our naysayers 20 years ago, but I'm even more glad we took the leap and embraced the uncertainty of trying something different. The success we've enjoyed as a fund, of course, is entirely attributable to the hard work of the entrepreneurs we've been fortunate to support. They are harvesting clean, renewable energy from ocean waves. They're using AI to reduce the cost of developing the next generation of biologic drugs. They are creating local jobs and local wealth, and they are inventing the future, and they're doing it right here in Oregon. As you go forth with your careers, if you hone your expertise and use it creatively to discover and apply new insights, if you embrace life's inevitable uncertainties, I am confident you will meet with success. Sadly, our world is full of people who will tell you you can't cross mountains and achieve your dreams. When they do, remember Clovis and Bowerman and the many enterprising men and women who came before you, whose insights inspired them to do their life's work differently, and who weren't afraid to embrace uncertainty. Teddy Roosevelt said it well. Far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to take rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, because they live in the gray twilight that knows neither victory nor defeat. Be well, do good, love each other, and when you leave, remember why you came.
Eric, on behalf of the Oregon Executive MBA class of 2024, I would like to thank you by presenting you with a symbol of our appreciation. We are so grateful for your remarks today. Thank you for taking the time to help us celebrate. And now, here are Doug Wilson and Kyle Peterson for the recognition of graduates and hooding ceremony.
So it is my pleasure to introduce the class, and we'll begin with Matthew G. Abrams. Christopher Chisholm Akins. Fahad Salih Awite. Thank you, Chris. Casey John Antonson. Varun Ashok. Michael Bond. Phil Benavides. Jared Briggs. Conrad Leibowitz Byron. Congratulations, Conrad. Gunmeet S. Dillon. Juan Antonio Estevez. Congratulations, Juan. Mercedes Alejandra Evangelista. Congratulations. Vincent James Ferraris. Congratulations, Vinny. Cassandra B. Fisher. Congratulations. Chelsea Marie Gover Price. Lindsay Lorraine Harris. Congratulations, Lindsay. Maxwell Benjamin Haas. Congratulations. Corey Hendricks. D. G. Hickman. Congratulations. Paul David Johnson. Nicholas Casanto. Eric Leone. Congratulations, Eric. Andrea Lucia. James Lund. Congratulations, James. You bet. Whitney McNabb. Thank you. Amber Marr. Congratulations. John Martin. John, congratulations. Connor Gregory McDonald. Laura Ann McIntosh. Caitlin McLean Powell. Okay, of course. Maharaja Rajappa. Raj, congratulations. Richard Ramirez Hodges. Kinsey Lee Reith. Samuel Jackson Mina Ruji. David Allen Sanabria. Jessica Quinn. Todd C. Shelvig. Congratulations, Todd. Diwakar Sharma. Congratulations. Scott R. Siegel. Abigail Stephanie Trimble.
Congratulations, class of 2024. You made it. I have had the distinct honor of watching you all for the past 21 months, survive this program, and I am so excited and honored to stand up here today and, along with your families, celebrate your accomplishment. I do have two groups of students I'm going to recognize right now. I have the pleasure of recognizing first our group of Scholastic Excellence who have placed themselves in the top 20% of their class and are invited to join Beta Gamma Sigma Scholastic Honoree. When I call your name, please stand. And then after that, I will call the veterans. And when I call your name, please stand. Okay, this year's members of Beta Gamma Sigma are Matthew Abrams, Casey John Antonson, Varun Ashok, Gunmeet Dillon, Nicholas Cusantos, Laura Ann McIntosh, and Kinsey Reith. Congratulations, Beta Gamma Sigma. You can have a seat. The next group of students I would like to honor is our military veterans and active duty military members. This cohort's members are Vincent Ferris, Paul Johnson, John Martin, Connor McDonald, and David Sanabria. Thank you for your service. Now I call Brandon Julio to introduce today's first class commentator.
It's a pleasure to be here with you today, and let me add to the many congratulations, a very deeply personal congratulations to you. This is a class that I've gotten to know more than any of the prior classes, because not only did we share a very eventful course together, but I got to spend time with you in Copenhagen and Prague, at least many of you, and got to know quite well our two class commentators, and I'm here to introduce our first class commentator today. Our first commentator is James Lund, who I got to know well on the trip and in class. And on a personal note, I want to say two things. One is, I'm not 100% sure, but one of my most lasting memories of James is the smell of stir fry on a flight from Copenhagen to Prague. But more relevant to the program, one thing I remember about James is when we would have interactions, he would always ask me, how can I implement the things that we learn in class in my career? I think that's very admirable. He had a very good attitude about the coursework. James is the father of 5 children, and during his time in the Executive MBA has continued to actively participate in community service, volunteering at a wide range of organizations. He also serves as treasurer and board member for the Portland chapter for the Society for Information Management. Earlier this year, he became the president of ProFocus Technology, the recruiting firm where he started working in 2016. Please welcome James Lund, MBA 2024.
We made it. Congratulations, 38. First, this is an honor to be chosen by all of you to be up here speaking about our experience as a cohort. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. Although I'll admit, it felt a little bit like you all just delegated one last group presentation to Jessica and me. So, I'm just saying. Except this assignment didn't have a grading rubric or clear guidelines to follow at all. I've struggled with what to say. I know I could have used ChatGPT to help me out. And while I love generative AI just as much as Vinny and Fahad, I decided not to use ChatGPT at all to help me with this speech. Not because I don't love it, but I wanted to be one of the last student commentators, probably of all time, to not use generative AI to write their speech. So I've thought a lot about what I'm supposed to say and not say. What can I say that would measure up to our collective experiences throughout the program? I want to do right by all of you to honor the journey that has really been truly remarkable. I remember driving downtown to class on a cold, sunny Saturday morning, and I was just reflecting and thinking about how few of these last weekends we had. I thought back to immersion, and when it all started, I remember how clear it was to me immediately that this is a special group of people. When I mentioned that recently to my wife, she agreed. She said, everyone in your class are really, really cool people, except maybe the one who broke our microwave. Speaking of Todd, is he here yet? But I know, Caitlin beat me to that joke already. But seriously, at Immersion, we accomplished something that no other cohort ever has, an OE MBA win. We had a choice to compete against each other or choose to collaborate with each other. We did it together. That set the stage that we were in this together. And I remember early on how many of us were nervous coming in, nervous about the demands of the program and balancing them on top of stresses and obligations at work, home, and everything else that life throws at us. Well, you did it. You earned this. And you all sacrificed so much. And many of you earned this despite facing incredibly difficult life challenges. I know about some of those challenges that you've been facing and continue facing today. Some of you are facing them quietly, the kinds of things that no one should ever have to go through. And I'm certain there are even more stories of challenges I never heard about and probably never will. And despite them, you all showed up, you all endured, and you all rocked it. And you all didn't do it alone. I know I didn't do it alone. There are countless examples we can all think of where we did this together. People all across the cohort stepped in and picked others up when we needed help. Whether it was people on your team here in the cohort or across teams, we were able to lean on each other. On top of the support we had across the cohort, many of us had tremendous support outside of it. I know we had help from colleagues, coworkers, and bosses. I want to thank Jennifer and John, who are here today, and the rest of my ProFocus team for your unwavering support and for taking on so much the last couple of years. Many of us relied on colleagues to help, and it did not go unnoticed. So thank you to all you for your support for all of us. We were also fortunate to have an amazing faculty, staff, and everyone here at the University of Oregon as you helped guide us along the way. We have a ton of gratitude for you and really appreciate the support. And we, of course, have our friends and family to thank who supported us throughout the program in such an incredible way. They were there for us in understanding of our time constraints and obligations we had in front of us every day. And a lot of them are here for you again, now, today, showing their support with their presence here. So thank you. Shout out to my closest friends and family who are here today and watching online. Appreciate the support. And real quick, I want to thank my mom. I am who I am because of you, and I'll be forever grateful that I was fortunate enough to be raised by you. And I think it's fair to say that most of the cohort has a parental figure who they could say exactly the same thing about. So on behalf of Class 38, thanks to all the parents out there and parental figures for everything you've done for all of us from childhood to today. And of course, thank you to all of our spouses and children. So many of us with partners and kids of all ages owe you all a massive thank you. And speaking for myself, probably a very long honey-do list is owed. Thanks to my 5 wonderful children, Declan, Bennett, Maisie, Kerrigan, and Jack. You all are perfect and have been incredible, patient, and understanding, and I love you all very much. Selfishly, I want to take an extra moment to properly thank my wife. You're somewhere out there. You've been insanely supportive the last couple of years. I love you very much. And you've taken on so much that enabled me to do this, and at times you made it look effortless. I truly couldn't have done this without you. And as you put it recently, for all those extra hours I let you put into the bar with your classmates to get you here. Thank you for always encouraging me to reach the potential you always saw in me. I can go on and on about you, but my word count is already too high, so I have to move on. But before I do, when you were talking recently, though, you said you were done being an MBA wife, and you're right about that, because I share this MBA with you equally. And if Mom, if you could pass her, this is a little surprise, if you can give her her grad cap, please, that would be appreciated. Every one of us here had people there for us, people who picked up more so we could invest in ourselves and our future, people who listened to us vent, waited up late for us to come to bed after finishing up work, homework, or whatever else was on our plates. And those people not only got less of our time, but if we're being honest, they probably got a more stressed out and grumpier version of ourselves. And I'd love to ask Cohort 38 if you can stand up, please, and give a huge duck round of applause to everyone here and everyone out there who supported you throughout your time in the program. Okay, 38. After spending so much time with all of you, not seeing you regularly is gonna be weird. I will miss you, and I'm gonna hold on to the memories we all shared. I'll miss the overly aggressive and passionate negotiations, hilarious jokes weaved into your class presentations, simulations, competitions, Old Town pizza conversations, ranch waters at the Hoxton, bike rides in Copenhagen, twisted teas in the garage, Thai massage, rifle guide, jumping jacks, team chats, case studies, boozy boats, hot dogs, edible bugs, soccer match flares, showing you care, sakura, breaking the seal, boiled chicken, games of chicken, airplane chow mein, Steaks, Toto toilets, cigars, smoke show, that was a clerical error. Throw X's and Y's, golf days and karaoke nights, Diet Coke, poker, HVAC, wax, Tam Sam, Psalm, drinks with professors, group pictures, joggers, clap once, pink pants, global trip, team surveys, faculty surveys, surveys of surveys, dancing to West Side Story, Zaddy, I don't think I said it right still, Lime scooters, getting shook down, lifting each other up, sidebar, the infamous throat tickle, college football on laptops, snacks on snacks, what's for dinner, coconut rice, class participation grades, class participation grades, nervous at immersion, capstone anxiety, imposter syndrome, you belong here, you all belong here. Celebrating with you on the rooftop at the Porter Hotel and brunch at Bricks this morning, and of course, it depends. I'll remember our time in the cigar room in Prague when I fumbled through an impromptu speech telling everyone to enjoy this final year because in a blink, it'll be over. As I continue to reflect on our time in the program, I am most grateful for the relationships I've built with you. We've built genuine friendships that will, for many, last the rest of our lives. This program changed our lives. It changed mine in such a positive and surprising way. And looking ahead, we have exciting new opportunities and prospects on the horizon for each of us. New jobs, promotions, businesses, and much more around the corner that we're not even aware of yet. As I reflected on what has been meaningful and what should I say up here today, I should say it doesn't have to end. What is most meaningful can continue. And while this program may be ending, we are not ending. We started this together, we will continue together. And my commitment to this cohort is that we will stay connected and continue supporting each other both professionally and personally. Several of us will organize monthly Class 38 events, virtual and in person, including professional development such as learning lunches, book clubs, and career support and networking. We'll also connect personally over happy hours, sporting events, and of course karaoke. Maybe chow mein. And if I can ever be a resource for or help you in your careers in any way, call me, you have my number. While our time in this program comes to an end today, our time together does not. I'll see you all again soon, and thank you again for this honor, and once again, congratulations.
Thank you, James. There you go. Sorry, that was a long speech. I had to find the right page. It's now my honor to introduce this year's valedictorian. Actually, it turns out this year, it's going to be valedictorians. For the first time since I've been involved in the program, and from what I understand, probably the first time in program history, we have 2 graduates in the top spot. When I saw these names, I agreed 100%. They exhibited academic excellence, and I only was able to see them in a very small part of the program. But I'm very confident they excelled throughout. Obviously, they did to be awarded valedictorian. Our valedictorians this year are Matt Abrams, and Gunmeet Dillon. In a moment, Matt and Gunmeet will announce the winners of the program's Juliana Sowash Excellence in Teaching Award. I'd just like to get a little bit of background on that before I turn it to them. Each year, students in the graduating class vote for the 2 faculty members who made the largest impact on their experience at the Oregon Executive MBA. Because the award truly represents the voice of our students, it is especially meaningful for the faculty who receive it. So who is Juliana Soash? She served as Executive Director of the Oregon Executive MBA for nearly 24 years, from 1995 to 2019. To put that in perspective, when Juliana started in 1995, the program's 9th class was just graduating, and here we are watching the 38th class graduate. Under her leadership, the program grew and thrived from several locations, leaving the Beaverton-Hillsboro area to come to downtown Portland. By the time she retired in 2019, the program boasted more than 1,000 business leaders amongst graduates. Now, 5 years later, that group is nearly 1,300 strong. Through her role in developing these leaders, Juliana made a real impact on the economy of the Portland region, the state of Oregon, and well beyond. By naming the annual faculty award after her, we honor the work Juliana did to build the Oregon Executive MBA program you know today. And now I turn it over to our 2 valedictorians, Matt and Gunmeet, who will announce this year's winners.
Thank you very much, Brandon. It is my honor to announce Doug Wilson as the recipient of this year's Juliana Soash Excellence in Teaching Award. I think it comes to no surprise to us to hear that Doug is the recipient of this reward. In our 2 years of knowing Doug, he has demonstrated that he's not only a talented instructor, but he's an incredibly passionate one. For me, this passion was exemplified when he took the time to review each of our assignments and create personalized videos for each one of these, summarizing his feedback. When he challenged us with learning objectives on the bus in Copenhagen, when we were just jet-lagged and really wanting to sleep. And finally, by his unrelenting motivation to continuously improve this program, which we are all beneficiaries of today. As a direct result of his passion and dedication, it is my honor and pleasure to present him with this award. Let's give a round of applause for Doug and show him our appreciation.
All right. I'm going to let the anticipation simmer on the second one. First, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for being here. It means so much for our graduating class to be with our families and friends as we celebrate one of the most fulfilling challenges of our lives. I'm personally grateful for my daughter, Sonia. She's here today. And she can see that her dad doesn't spend all his time goofing around and telling corny dad jokes. My brother, sister, mother, and father are also here. My father dedicated his life to teaching, and the profession holds a very special place in my heart. It's an absolute honor to be able to introduce a recipient of this year's Juliana Soash Excellence in Teaching Award. So there can be very large variation in the skill level among finance professionals. Just last week, I asked my Charles Schwab financial advisor to check my balance, and he tried to push me over. On the professional end of the spectrum, we find Deb Bauer. From the moment Deb walked into our classroom with stacks of paper handouts, we knew we were in for something special. Our younger audience members may not remember what an overhead projector is, but Deb, she managed to requisition a vintage 1980s model so she could instruct us on the elegance of time value of money, the hubris of internal rate of return, and of course, the majesty of portfolio diversification. Deb accomplished all this with a poise and accuracy that makes her one of the rare professors I would not want to meet in the dark alleyways of corporate competition. As a metaphor for what I admire, that is the highest compliment that I can give. Please join me in congratulating Deb as a recipient of this year's Juliana Sowash Excellence in Teaching Award for her outstanding contributions. And Deb, you have to come up on stage. Okay, you have to listen to me for just a second more. And it's now my privilege to introduce one of my cohort mates, Fahad Al-Watad. Fahad is one of my year one team members, Team RoboDuck. He's a double duck. He's a hardcore supporter of Oregon athletics. In his side hustle, he is a director of finance at OHSU, the Oregon Health and Science University. And a very little known fact about Fahad, he loves public recognition and standing ovations. So please, let's give it up for Fahad.
All right. There's a lot of you guys out there. First and foremost, I want to just follow up on what James said, thanking all of the faculty and staff. We really could not have done this entire journey without you. And another exceptional thanks and genuine heartfelt thanks to the support systems around us that enabled us to get through this process. This was two, at times, very long years, at other times went very, very fast. We could not have done any of this without you. The real reason I'm up here is I have the honor and privilege to recognize a faculty and staff member who is retiring after a long and illustrious career, both in business and private practice and academia. But first, I need to take you all back in time, September 2003. Four of my cohort mates up here had a little bit more hair, looking at you. Casey, Chris, Jared, you specifically. Dave was a patrol cop on the mean streets of Bellevue, Washington, and someone somewhere in the great state of Michigan was uttering what Amanda has been uttering multiple times the past 20 months, which is, where is Todd? Now back to the script here. Also back in September 2003, a recently turned 18-year-old walked in to begin their undergraduate academic career at the University of Oregon. Wearing their finest puka shell necklace, Abercrombie & Fitch graphic tee, which was probably cringeworthy, cargo shorts, and a disgusting Oakland A's hat. They walked into Prince Lucian Campbell Lecture Hall, room 180, a nondescript room with no windows, and just your typical University of Oregon lecture hall back in the day. The class was BA 101. The professor was Doug Wilson, and that student was me 40 some odd pounds ago and some gray hair ago. I situated myself at the back of that lecture hall, which is pretty indicative of my undergraduate performance, academic-wise. But again, I graduated, here I am now. Again, here we are 21 years later, and we're kind of coming full circle with all of this, where we get to put a bow on Doug's academic career as he goes off into a much-deserved retirement. The idea of the full circle is not lost upon me at all. And honestly, in a program that's been full of memories I will never forget, this is one of the things I will never, ever, ever forget, and it's an honor and a privilege to be up here. I vividly remember entering the program ahead of immersion and seeing the name Doug Wilson and thinking, there's no way it's that Doug from September 2003. Sure enough, we're all sitting in the White Stag building, and in walks Doug. I wasn't sure if I was scared or what. I don't remember what he knew or what he knew from me as an undergrad. I texted a handful of friends that day asking if they remembered Doug, and without fail, almost all of them texted back, remembering Doug from our time down there at University of Oregon. Any number of business classes, be it the same BA 101 class I took, marketing, strategy, entrepreneurship courses, they all remembered Doug. Reading through Doug's CV, you'll find a laundry list of accomplishments in the business world, both professional and academic. There's also an unfortunate entry in there, which is that our beloved Doug graduated from the Oregon State University. And while he gave us the backstory growing up in the Corvallis area and made complete sense, really, Doug? Oregon State? Nah. Clearly, he smartened up in the years after undergrad when he decided to attend the University of Oregon for his own MBA and eventually teach at the University of Oregon. Doug's CV is peppered throughout with words distinguished, excellence, outstanding, and influential. His award tonight clearly shows that. His academic career is rife with prestigious awards, academic appointments, publications, and so much more. Over the past 20 years, Doug has been instrumental in the teaching, guidance, mentorship, of undergraduate and graduate level business students throughout the University of Oregon that have gone on to great success throughout their careers, and here's to hoping that we can add to that list here. Within the context of our cohort, Doug was much more than an academic director and professor. For many of us, he was a mentor, a knowledge source, an objective voice, and so very often, an ear to listen to. And oh, did our cohort use Doug's ear. Some might even argue that our cohort's use of Doug's ear might have caused him to make the final leap into retirement, but I'll let him tell you guys that later. All joking aside, as a cohort, we always looked forward to seeing Doug when he came up for his academic duties, and even more so when we had the joy of having him as a professor in our second year. So Doug, on behalf of Cohort 38, I want to say thank you for your contributions to our University of Oregon Executive MBA experience, and wish you nothing but the best of luck as you move into your much-deserved retirement. Go Ducks.
It's now my privilege to introduce our second class commentator, selected by her peers to speak at graduation and share experiences and thoughts about the experience in the Executive MBA program. And that is Jessica Quinn. A few personal things about Jessica. One is new. I notice how resilient she is, though having a family name that puts her pretty close to the end of the line is still okay with being bumped back a little longer. A few things I remember about Jessica. I met her first on the global trip. The thing you instantly notice about Jessica is leadership. Everyone listens to Jessica, and everyone follows what Jessica says. Another thing, from a personal perspective, I think Jessica holds the record this year for setting up the largest number of office hour meetings, but then them being the shortest, because it essentially was, hello, Jessica, correct, 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 see you next time. Jessica lives in Eugene, Oregon, and for her and several of our students, she has a very long commute to come to the Executive MBA program. She made the 200-mile round-trip journey between Eugene and Portland twice a month for 20 months to attend classes here. You can imagine how many miles that is. Like so many of her classmates, Jessica has seen career growth during her time at the Oregon Executive MBA. Just this April, Jessica was named Vice President of Administration at Obie Companies. Jessica and Obie Companies have truly grown together. She began working there while she was earning her undergraduate degree in theater from the University of Oregon. Once she graduated, Obie Companies asked her to stay on, and she played an instrumental role growing the company's portfolio of hotels. And in fact, as I just learned, they just closed on another hotel in the past week. With her MBA, Jessica also gets the extra designation, having graduated from her undergraduate degree at the University of Oregon, a double duck. Please welcome Jessica Quinn, MBA 2024.
It's hot in here. How are we doing? We're doing okay? Okay. I have to start actually with a public apology. My peers were very giving with advice on what I should take into this speech. And I'm sorry to say, Chris Akins, I'm not using any of your jokes in this. You were so gracious in offering those to me. You're the king of delivery. Like, I wouldn't be able to do them justice. You can save that for later at the reception. Instead, I will attempt to follow James Lund's beautiful example. I mean, you really didn't leave anything out, so. But I'll attempt to commemorate our collective experience as a last hurrah before we walk out of this room and begin life after getting our MBA. What an experience. There were trials and tribulations, for sure, from begrudgingly memorizing formulas for present value, future value, and weighted average cost of capital, to crash course learning on simulation strategy, to getting COVID on the Europe trip, and then coming back and fledging into year 2 of the program. We've been through a lot in order to arrive to this moment, as have our family and friends. I'm sure they will not miss that Friday night call of, oh, I've got to study. Can you pick me up from Old Town Pizza in a couple hours? Everyone here in this room today paid a price, outside of tuition, which was also quite a price. Yes, there was an opportunity cost in order to be here. Personally, there were several instances throughout the program where I found myself commiserating over the fact that there's nobody else who saw the full picture of what I was going through at the time. Waking up early, trying to get some homework in before seeing my kids, being engaged with them, going to work, none of my colleagues knowing that there was already a couple hours of mental energy exerted that day, then coming home, making dinner, getting on a team call, engaging with my students, or my team, not my students, and going to bed, and then waking up and doing it all over again. It was exhausting. You guys, you look great, but I know we're all tired. P.S., quick aside, James, Oliver, Liam, I love you so very much. Thank you for being there every step of the way as I guided our day with whatever I was choosing to put time and attention to at the moment. Our colleagues, our children, our friends, our spouses, the people in our life only saw pieces to that entire picture. But Class 38, you and I, we all know the full picture and everything it took to earn that MBA that we now get to add to our LinkedIn profiles. We expanded our capacity to a point that beyond what we've done previously and spread it over so many areas the last 20 months. Parent, spouse, friend, colleague, manager. The growth that was occurring spread so far might not yet have been visible to anyone other than ourselves. And now that burden is relieved to some degree, and our capacity for more may now be visible to others. We've stretched, we've grown, we have persevered, and while we are now equipped with the ability to analyze a set of financial statements, to conduct a competitive positioning analysis for our firms, and to evaluate a firm or project, thanks to Brandon Julio, and yes, to any bosses that might be in the room, we can do all of those things now. Let's also recognize the less visible, but still valuable grit and perseverance we are walking away with. I believe that will carry each of you much farther. To conclude, let me say this. Class 38, I hope you take this brief and fleeting moment at the finish line. We're here and it's going to go by really quickly, to feel an overwhelming sense of pride over what you have been through the last 20 months and what it took to get to this moment. We're going to get up, we're going to walk out. Our friends and family are going to hug us and say that they are proud of us. I hope you hear it. I hope you feel it. Congratulations and cheers to your grit, your determination, and your work towards something better for you, for your company, for your families. I admire each and every single one of you, and I am so excited to see those LinkedIn updates about what you're doing next. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jessica. All right, we're in the final stretch here. Class 38, I'm grateful from having had the opportunity to support and get to know this group of smart, accomplished, successful, compassionate individuals. You have made my role here at the Oregon Executive MBA so meaningful. Earlier this month, famous documentarian Ken Burns gave the undergraduate commencement address at Brandeis University. I was moved by his words and saw something of all of you in the advice that he gave to the undergraduates. He said, "Do not confuse success with excellence. Do not descend too deeply into specialism. Educate all of your parts, because you will all be healthier, and don't get stuck in one place." Class 38, you leaned into educating all your parts through the journey here at the Oregon Executive MBA, and you have clearly not confused success with excellence, as you've shown excellence in how you show up, you've shown excellence in how you carry yourselves, and you've shown excellence in how you treat one another. Ken Burns would be proud of all of you. Now, I am fully aware that I am the one thing standing between all of you and your loved ones and a glass of champagne, and I know the pressure is on, and I promise to keep this last bit brief. But Class 38, before sending you off to toss caps, break bread with family and friends and loved ones, I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to thank the special individuals in our community who have made your journeys possible. I'd like to start by thanking Doug Wilson, the Oregon Executive MBA Co-Academic Director, Marketing Instructor, Capstone Coordinator, Oregon Executive MBA Academic Committee Chair, and Juliana Sowash, Excellence in Teaching Award honoree. Thank you, Doug. I would also like to thank the other members of our academic committee who helped shape the direction of the Oregon Executive MBA. Angie Davis, Brandon Julio, Nagesh Murthy, Andrew Nelson, and Kyle Peterson. Thank you. Next, I'd like to recognize the remaining faculty and coaches who are joining us here today, starting with Deb Bauer, Instructor of Financial Analysis, Juliana Sowash, Excellence in Teaching Award, and I have to say, I feel like I owe her a debt of gratitude because whenever I take a candidate to sit in Deb's class, I basically just collect the deposit. They're like, yeah, give me more of that. You are amazing. Kathy Longholland, Capstone Advisor. Pam Knowles, Capstone Advisor. Michael Martin Tellis, Oregon Executive MBA Team Coach and Oregon Executive MBA Class of 2018, and Ed Warnock, Instructor of Implementing Strategy. Thank you. And we're almost done. Next, I want to thank the Oregon Executive MBA staff, a small group of passionate individuals who are defined by excellence. You will not find a team more committed to student success. And these folks do all the things, and each deserve to be acknowledged for the role they play in your journey. In alphabetical order, I'd like us all to thank Kit Alderdice, woo, Carrie Brunson, Amanda Fontenot, woo, Wendy Sierra, woo, Nana Tuffin, and Katrina Loganamothe. Woo! And finally, I want to acknowledge our behind-the-scenes tech support who manage the complexities of our classroom technology and honestly make us look really good. Doug Burzell, Sean Curtin, David Nidbornik, Clayton O'Brien, Amelia Straub, and Susan Vang. Thank you all so much. Class 38, we are honored to have played a part in preparing you for the many challenges and rewards that lie ahead. We hope that we have instilled in you a desire to make a difference and to inspire others to do the same. We look forward to following your careers and personal accomplishments, and we also hope to continue being a part of your lives. Please know that we are proud of you and accept our warmest congratulations on this very special occasion. I also want to thank the family, friends, and corporate sponsors here today for sharing this important celebration of accomplishment. On behalf of the Oregon Executive MBA and the University of Oregon, congratulations to the graduates. Can we all give it up for the Oregon Executive MBA class of 2024? And now, oh my goodness, we have a very special guest who will be leading the Class 38 recessional this afternoon. Come on down. Woo! Graduates, can you all please stand? And can we cue the fight song? Woo! Let's go.